Welcome to Embracing Connection, Pleasure, and Understanding Desire Together, Sex Part 2. So in this week, we're really going to dive into the importance of pleasure and connection instead of focusing on something that is goal-oriented in our sexual experiences. So what do I mean by that? A lot of couples, when they think about sexual intimacy, they think about an orgasm or having a result at the end of the experience to measure if it was successful or not. And so we really want to move away from that type of thinking and mindset, because that is what promotes and develops performance anxiety, pressure, shame, and a lot of tension between a couple, and it really sucks the pleasure and connection out of the experience when we're focused on this one goal instead of experiencing this moment with our partner and focusing more on pleasure, connection, and being present in the moment together. So throughout the weeks, we've been building upon communication, having that be a real cornerstone of a relationship health for being able to actually enjoy pleasure and connection with your partner. In order for that to happen, we need to normalize talking about sex, how it feels in the moment, how it feels internally, emotionally for us, our expectations and thoughts on it, and what that dynamic looks like between you and your partner if you may have different sex drives or that changes throughout life, as we discussed last week. So if you're looking to deepen your pleasure and connection with your partner, a great place to start is going through your 5 senses. So the first sense could be sight. So what is something visually stimulating that the two of you can engage in during this experience? So that could be dimmed lights, having the candles on in the background, wearing something different, whether it's lingerie or an outfit that you might enjoy you seeing your partner in, or some kind of role play outfit, or you can have a visual aid. So this could be something showing on the TV, whether that could be watching porn together or having something that is stimulating for both of you visually. The next sense could be sound. So this could be having some type of music playing in the background that might be calming or allow the two of you to express yourself in a particular way based on the energy of the music. This could be talking dirty to each other, right? So if you're someone who enjoys words of affirmation, this might be the thing that really works for you. And there's lots of resources online if you feel comfortable talking dirty or hearing your partner talk dirty. There's this great resource on the website o.school that has an inventory checklist of being able to talk dirty. So that's something fun the two of you can do outside of this, is check off the kind of adjectives you'd want to say, different body parts you feel comfortable talking about, building that up so that when you do have these moments, that could be something that you say to each other. Some people whose love language is words of affirmation, sound and hearing someone talking could be a great way to amplify those senses. So there's also another app called Dipsy where they have erotic novels being read out loud. That could be something that you and your partner explore and try out together to see if that's something that helps the two of you enjoy pleasure more. Another feature of sound could just be listening to each other's breathing or the rhythm of your heartbeats or moaning, right? Having that be in the background or with each other is also a great way to heighten that sense. The next sense could be taste, right? So this could be flavored lubes, it could be, fruits dipped in chocolate, the taste of each other, anything that involves the actual taste of something. The next sense is smell. So this could be your partner wearing their favorite perfume, cologne, smell, body wash, right? Whatever that smell may be, is leaning into that sense to be able to be engaged more deeply with them through that. It also can be a candle going on in the background, right? Something that is engaging that sense for you. And the last sense is touch. So this could literally be how your partner's skin feels against you, their hair texture, the warmth of their body, right? It could be the sheets that you have, if they're silky or soft, pillowcases. It could be feathers. It could be velvet that you're touching, right? It could also be a candle being melted onto you. So this is a fun way for the two of you to really just explore through your senses and trying new things out that you probably already have at home. Or you can go out to the store, and that's a really fun exercise to do together. Also, to not forget about sex toys, right? This is also another feature to enhance the experience you have. Sometimes people can feel uncomfortable or insecure if their partner brings up wanting to use a toy or something additional in their physical intimacy together. And so I think part of that is working through that shame and insecurity to understand where this belief or narrative comes from, being able to reassure each other, and also understanding the expectations that partner has of what they're able to do to fulfill their partner's needs. Sometimes people may think, well, we shouldn't need to have anything additional. Otherwise, that means that I am not doing a good enough job of fulfilling my partner's sexual needs. When in reality, that's just not the case, right? Each person has their own individual sexual desires and sexuality. And when we allow and are open to more things to deepen and heighten the experience and take away this judgment or take away this shame, it allows both of us to have more fun and pleasure together. So that's something to consider and talk about if the two of you are comfortable going to a sex shop or a store together to be able to explore that experience. At the heart of intimacy, pleasure, and connection really is vulnerability and empathy. Create a space for each other that invites and welcomes vulnerability. And that means being able to share our deepest secrets, our fears, our desires, our insecurities. And when we're able to make our partner feel seen and validated in those raw moments, it really builds that connection and trust between the couple. It allows for that sensual expression to really flourish. And so part of building that vulnerability and empathy is having active listening. And active listening isn't just listening to the words that your partner is saying to you, but it's really being more emotionally attuned to their body language as well and the nuances of how they're talking to you. So some slight hesitations when they share something could mean that they may not be ready or they're nervous to share something with you. The inflection in their tone, the way they move their body when they're sharing something with you, if they look away, all of these nonverbal cues allows you to try to understand your partner. This is a great opportunity for you to ask more open-ended questions out of a place of curiosity and wanting to understand and see your partner. When we can trust that our partner will not judge us, will be open and curious to understanding us, and is engaged in the exploration with us, it allows so much more sensual expression and pleasure to happen between the two of you. We need to create this safe space for each partner to be able to communicate openly and honestly, even if they may not understand it totally or agree with it. This space exists for the two of you. We also have to remember that when we're dealing with vulnerability, this isn't a one-time thing, right? It's not like you can be vulnerable once or twice with your partner and then expect there to be pleasure and connection moving forward without any continuous effort. This is something in a relationship that continues to grow and is fostered with intentional commitment to exploring this and communicating on a regular basis around sex, around intimacy, our fears, insecurities, and desires. A few very common issues that may come up for couples who are seeking sex therapy is a mismatched sex drive or performance anxiety. So we can start with mismatched sex drive. And so what can happen is the person who has a higher sex drive may start to feel rejected, abandoned, and insecure in some ways, that their partner might not be attracted to them or might not care about them in the same way. And that can cause a lot of frustration for them. While the other partner, who may have a lower sex drive compared to their partner, may start to feel the pressure and anxiety to just have sex because it's something to fulfill their partner's needs. And now they're doing this vulnerable act almost out of obligation instead of it being something that they truly want to do and are enjoying. That also causes a lot of anxiety and insecurities. They may feel like they're not able to fulfill this pretty big and important need for their partner. They might feel like they're failing or letting their partner down in some way. Because what typically happens in relationships like this is that if intimacy is denied frequently, physical affection starts to decrease as well outside of sex or sexual intimacy. And this happens because the partner who typically initiates and has a higher sex drive doesn't want to continue feeling rejected and doesn't want to feel almost turned on and then have to stop if the physical affection doesn't go anywhere or doesn't go towards sex. And the partner who is not as interested in having sex as frequently, they're going to feel rejected because now they may feel like my partner is only physically affectionate with me when they want to have sex, when they only want this one thing. They don't want to be physically close to me outside of that. I'm not receiving cuddles or hugs or kisses or anything outside of it leading to sex. And so that can be really hurtful and confusing for that partner as well. Like I said, this is very common. It happens to a lot of couples. Even couples who may have had a very healthy and fulfilling sex life, this could happen at any point in a relationship, right? Whether it's in the beginning, middle, long term, after a big life transition. But it's important to kind of ask and talk about what function does that sexual intimacy provide them, right? It may seem obvious it's just pleasure or wanting to have sex, but a lot of the times it may be something different. It may be a stress reliever. It may be a way that they feel close to their partner in particular, right? When they have sex, they feel much closer, which allows them to be more emotionally close to them. It might produce a confidence boost for them or something to release their energy, right? It's something to explore with that partner. And the partner who has a lower drive, it may be important to ask, what is their experience during this, right? Do they have more of a responsive sex drive? And because the other partner probably has more of a spontaneous drive, that it may feel like they're constantly saying no or they're not interested. Whereas if there was more time spent on understanding and learning what actually turns that one partner on who has a lower sex drive, it might even be as simple as, there's no foreplay, right? One partner may just want to go straight to intercourse without any foreplay, or it might be too fast, or there's not flirting, there's no engagement before the process. So even if we tweak that, right, the couple spends more time connecting. They might flirt earlier in the day, or they might send text messages to each other. That can help build that anticipation. So when they do see each other, is not going straight for sexual intimacy, but more about pleasure and connecting first. However, we have to remember the goal is not just to have the one partner who has a lower drive to just have more. We want to understand what is happening for them, right? What is their experience with sexual desire? Something else that might cause issues or tension in a relationship is our expectations of what sexual intimacy should look like, feel like, the frequency of it, and if it's going to change over time. So it's going to be really important for this to be discussed. Why is this an expectation, right? Like, where did this expectation and belief come from? Is this realistic? And if it doesn't necessarily mean that there's something wrong in the relationship, is that partner okay with there being less physical intimacy than there was in the beginning, right? This also goes back to expectations around frequency of sex. A lot of couples may ask, what is a normal amount of sex to have each week, each month, every year? There's no answer. There's no real answer. It just depends. And it really is only important to that specific couple. So what feels healthy and fulfilling for the couple while taking into account everything that's happening in their life, all the factors that we discussed last week, right? And how the couple manages these ebbs and flows together. Another very common issue that couples face is when one or both partners experiences general anxiety and also performance anxiety. So let's talk about the difference. General anxiety is when we have these thoughts in our mind where we're not present in what's happening in the moment or in our body. So you may be laying in bed with your partner, you may be kissing, you may be being intimate, and then your thoughts start to go to your to-do list, right? Or the stress at work, or you're thinking about something in the future. You're somewhere else worrying instead of being present and actively engaging with your partner here. And this is normal, right? We're busy, we have a lot going on, there's a lot of stressors, and it's hard to just focus on one thing. And if you're somebody who generally has anxiety, this may be something you struggle with in other areas in your life, so it makes sense that it would go into your sex life. Another feature of this is performance anxiety specifically. So this looks like we're still in our thoughts, right? We're elsewhere. However, the quality of the thoughts are based around our performance in this moment sexually. So we may be focused on oh my God, am I going to be able to maintain an erection? Am I going to be able to stay wet during this? Is my partner going to think that I look gross? I gained a couple pounds. I don't like the way I look. Are they going to feel that coming from me? Am I going to be able to enjoy this? Are they going to be able to enjoy this moment? What if they're not interested? What if they reject me? What if halfway through I don't want to do this anymore and I have to stop and that's uncomfortable? All of these thoughts are worries of the worst case scenario happening, and a fear that if this occurs, that there's some level of shame, embarrassment, disappointment, some of these negative emotions that are going to come up for us that we don't want to feel, we want to avoid. And so it's going to be very important for both of these features, just general anxiety and for performance anxiety, is back to that communication piece. Share this with our partner. Not always in the moment, right? This is a conversation to start with outside of the bedroom or outside of the moment you're having intimacy with your partner. When both of you are in a headspace where you're open to hearing each other out and being vulnerable and honest. And this is really important because this vulnerability piece allows them to understand what's happening for you. Most likely, they can see that you're not present. They can probably feel that you're not as engaged in the moment. And if they ask and you say, oh no, I'm fine, or you brush it off, or you don't express it, that then creates a new feedback loop for your partner to think there's something going on between the two of us. My partner's not expressing what it is, but I can feel it. Is it me? Are they not enjoying it? And we can see how this spiral of anxiety hops over to our partner, and that becomes anxiety. And now we're arguing about why it's not happening instead of talking about the internal experience. So a big feature of managing anxiety is finding coping skills for these thoughts outside of the moment when it's happening, right? We don't want to practice a new skill in the moment that we're having anxiety. We want to first practice it when we're in a neutral space. So having mindfulness and meditation is going to be really important because it helps focus our thoughts intentionally and acknowledge what's going on for us internally. Part of the performance anxiety is this shame and disappointment. And so shame really does not want to be seen. That's kind of the purpose and function of shame, is that it wants to hide, it wants to stay away, it wants to isolate and withdraw and stay in that negative space. However, one of the biggest ways to help deconstruct shame is having it be seen, is letting your partner know about this experience, letting them see that vulnerability and being able to reassure and validate it. And I want you to know that if you are someone who does struggle with this, you're not alone. This isn't a life sentence. It can get better through communication, through practicing mindfulness and coping skills. And if this is something that occurs so frequently that you have stopped engaging in intimacy altogether, then it may be important for you and your partner to seek more professional help with a therapist outside of these courses. Because this is general information and not customized to you and your relationship, it's going to be important to seek out somebody else who can help you create that custom plan for the two of you to move and work through this together.